Okay, we're really moving forward now, so let's have a look at expanding brackets with surds in them. Now before we start, we must be able to expand normal brackets. Things like we have here, 3 plus a, all multiplied by 2 plus 5. Now I don't know how you've been shown this in the past, but the way I teach it, or the way I do it, is I use a method called FOIL, which means I multiply out the firsts, then I multiply out the outsides, then I multiply out the insides, then I do the lasts, and then I simplify. So for example, for this one here, I will do the first of each bracket. Well, that is 3 times 2, which is 6. I will do the outside of each bracket multiplied. That is a positive 3 multiplied by, look at this, that's a positive 5. 3 times 5 is 15, and a positive times a positive is still a positive. So I have 15. Then I will do the insides, that's these two, that is a positive a times 2, so that's a positive 2a. And finally, I will do the last of each bracket, that is a positive times a positive, which is a positive. A times 5 is 5 lots of a. And then I would simplify this. So in this case, we have got 6 add 15, which is 21. And we've got 2 lots of a plus 5 lots of a, which is 7 lots of a. Now, we tend to write this the other way around. We tend to put the A, B, C's before the numbers on their own. So in this case, that would be neatened up to be 7a plus 21. Okay, let's look at this more complicated question here. Principle is exactly the same. It looks complicated, but it's not as bad as it looks. Now, what I would do here, first of all, is recognise that that is 1a and that is minus 1b. Really important you pick those points up. So now we're looking at multiplying the firsts. So it's 2 times 1, which is 2. And a times a is a squared. Then we are looking at the outsides. So 2 multiplied by negative 1 is negative 2. A times b is just ab. There we're looking at the insides. 3 times 1 is 3. B times a is ab. And then finally we're looking at the outsides. We've now got a positive 3 times a negative 1. That is negative 3. B times b is b squared. Okay, let's just neaten this up. Well, we have no more a squared, so we're left with 2a squared. Minus, so this is key here, minus 2ab plus 3ab. Well, minus 2 plus 3 is plus 1, or positive 1. So you're left with positive 1ab. We don't write the 1, you just write ab. And now we've got minus 3b, because there's no other b squareds, minus 3b squared at the end, and that is done. The only thing to note here, the last thing to look out for, is if you see something in brackets all squared, all that means is the same bracket written out as a multiplication with itself. So that is a plus b, all multiplied by a plus b. Right, let's look at this expanding brackets with actual surds in. We do the same thing. We multiply out the first in each bracket. So root 5 times root 3 is just root 15, because 3 times 5 is 15. We now look at the outsides. So you've got a positive times a negative, which is a negative. Root 5 times root 2, well, 5 times 2 is 10, is just root 10. We now look at the insides. Positive times a positive is a positive. 2 times 3 is 6, but that is root 6, because it's a root 2 times a root 3. And finally, we look at the lasts. Positive times a negative. And we've got root 2 times root 2. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. And the square root of 4 is 2. So I just wrote down 2. And that is my answer. Okay, here's another one. So, firsts, outsides, insides, lasts, FOIL. So, 5 times 8 is 40. So I've now got the square root of 40. 2 times root 5 is 2 root 5. Minus root 2 times a positive root 8. Well, that's a minus root 16. And then you've got a negative times a positive, which is a negative. Root 2 times 2 is 2 root 2. So we've got some simplification to do here. So let's start with the 40. Well, that's 4 times 10. So that is the same as saying root 4 times root 10, which we know is 2 root 10. Okay, so we've dealt with that bit first. There's nothing else we can do with that. That remains. So that is just plus 2 root 5 minus the square root of 16 is 4 minus 2 root 2. All we do now is just simplify this, so we end up with the 4 at the end really. So you've got 2 root 10 plus 2 root 5 minus 2 root 2 minus 4. And finally, the last thing to note is if you get a question like this, all that means is 4 plus root 5 multiplied by 4 plus root 5. Okay, if you've made it this far, well done, that's superb. One more video to go, and that is looking at what's something called rationalising the denominator. It's not as hard as it sounds.